Hi there from Fremantle. It's 5 o'clock in the morning here and I'm heading down to Fremantle railway station. And our destination today is from Fremantle out to Kalgoorlie. We're going to catch the Prospector. So the first part of the journey is to get from Fremantle Station into East Perth, where the Prospector leaves from. Anyway, we'll head off down to the station here in Fremantle, and once we get there I'll tell you more. Well, here's our train. Now this train's headed for Midland, so it'll pass through Perth and then we get to East Perth and we'll get off there, and that's where the Prospector leaves from. We'll be looking at 6:30 and the Prospector goes at 7:05, so we've got another 6 minutes before we get to East Perth, so we've got plenty of time. Oh, incidentally, today's date is Saturday the 18th of April 2026.
This is East Perth.
Well, here we are at East Perth, and there's our train, the Prospector, sitting over on the other platform. So we'll just take the lift up. Okay. Just down here. As usual, just follow the crowd. We'll take the lift. This has got a bag.
Ground floor. Going up.
While I'm here, I'll take you in and give you a quick look around the East Perth railway station. Now there's a nice old carriage over here. Now, could you imagine going all the way from Perth to Meekatharra in that? Wow, what a trip. Anyway, we better get out into the train. I might go up the front and get a selfie. Now, apart from the Indian Pacific, there's only two long-distance trains in Western Australia. That's the Australind down to Bunbury, from Perth to Bunbury, and also this, the Prospector, from Perth out to Kalgoorlie. At the moment, there's only one running. That's the Prospector, because the Australind's out of service for the moment. Now, another interesting thing about this trip, when I went to book, I first went to book on the internet. And I brought up the TransWA website, but I couldn't find where I could put in our New South Wales Seniors Card numbers to get a discount. And so I called the booking office, TransWA booking office, and they booked us in and asked me for our seniors cards to get the concession, and they accepted. The seniors card, it's a New South Wales seniors card. We've both got New South Wales seniors card. They accepted, and then he told me the price, and he said it was $100. And I said, well, we're coming back, you know. He says, yeah, that's the price. He says it's $25 each way with a concession card. I thought, gee, that's cheap. Anyway, so the trip out to from Perth to Kalgoorlie cost $25 using a seniors concession card. Hey, that's a pretty good deal. Well, it's all very official here. You got to line up and they check you before you get on. It's a bit like the Orient Express or something like that. I really love the train. It's got a sort of a 1960s look to it. Ah, it's beautiful. Free Wi-Fi. Oh, that looks pretty good. A nice wide seat, wide window. Oh, we've got plenty of room in the luggage racks. And, oh yes, down here, PowerPoints and free Wi-Fi. What we've got here, a little TV set. Doesn't seem to work yet. They got plenty of leg room. Look at that. Yeah, very nice. Oh, that's beautiful. Well, we're on our way. Kalgoorlie, here we come. Well, that was a bit of a slow departure from Perth. It gave me the impression the train was going slow just to get the engines warm, the engine and gearbox and everything warmed up. We seem to be picking up speed now. Well, we've just come through Bassendean and we're probably doing about 80k now. Now the train has a buffet car, but there's been no announcements since we left, so I'm not sure if the buffet car is open yet. And when the cafe bar is open, I'll duck down and get a cup of coffee.
What's the code, please?
A code, yeah. Send it there. $2.80.
If you can see that, those prices are very reasonable. You can see here, A hot meal is just $10, and a mid-strength beer is $7. You can't complain about that. Now for the taste test. Flat white. Now we're sharing a ham and cheese croissant. $6 for the ham and cheese croissant and an extra $1 for the coffee. Earphones from the buffet.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next stop today will be Cameron. Cameron Station is our next stop. If you are leaving us at this stop, have a good look around, collect all your personal belongings and make your way to the centre car door in the buffet car now, please. Cameron Station is our next stop. Thank you.
No. Why do I feel like this?
Ah, here's the westbound Prospector. Here at Merredin we can get up and have a look around. Only for a few minutes though. There's the eastbound and the westbound. There goes the westbound service, just left. I think I better get back on the train because I think we're leaving. Well, goodbye Merredin. Ah, so this is why the fare was so cheap. Crazy 80s prices. 50% off. Now for lunch, I got a beef lasagna and a mid-strength beer. And Chris got a cheese and spinach roll with banana bread. Cheers. We're now approaching Kalgoorlie. Someone down there doesn't seem very happy. Well, that was a great trip and a great train. It's fantastic. Now, if you're a rail enthusiast, or anybody, in fact, don't miss it if you come to Western Australia. Ah, what a beautiful old station. Isn't that beautiful? Well, it certainly is a long station. I imagine to fit the Indian Pacific. So we're staying at the Quality Inn, which is just across the road from the station. I think that's it over there. Yeah, it's always nice to walk off the station and your accommodation is straight across the road. No taxis, buses or anything like that. It's there, right there for you. There's a reception down here. Well, very clean. Card in. Yeah, it's got a little kitchenette, TV. Well, pretty basic, but what more do you want? Now, what's the first thing you do when you arrive at a hotel? You put the jug on and make a cup of tea and try the bickies. Now, we're just out for a quick wander around town and maybe grab a beer. Got some beautiful old buildings in the town. Look at this. And of course there's a mining museum over there. We might just go and have a look at that tomorrow. I might duck over there to the Exchange Hotel for a beer. Well, it certainly is a grand old hotel. Yes, that's what we want. The Wild West Saloon. Let's go in and have a look. When I went into the bar, it's a little bit too Wild West. I had to turn the camera off. Anyway, I suppose that's Kalgoorlie. We'll have a look down here a bit further. We might be able to find something a little bit more tamer. Okay, we'll try over here at the Palace Hotel. Certainly the grand old style. Beautiful. Hotel, cafe and bar.
Move my bung up finger.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Here's to Kalgoorlie.
Bottoms up.
Ah, delicious. Well, we're going to head back to the hotel motel where we're staying now and have a early night. So we'll see you tomorrow morning. Well, it's Sunday today, Sunday the 19th of April, and we're just heading into town, and first thing we need to do is find a cafe and have a cup of coffee. And once we've done that, we're going to go down to the mining museum. Now they have a tour on at 10:30, and entry into the mining museum is free. So we've got to go to that. Now I've never really been to Kalgoorlie before. The last time I was in the area I just passed through Kalgoorlie, and that was around 1969, 1970. And what happened was my misspent youth, and I hitchhiked from Sydney down to Adelaide, and from Adelaide hitchhiked up to Port Augusta. And when I got to Port Augusta, I could see, I went to the station there, I slept at the station, and I noticed that in 12 hours time the Indian Pacific was coming in. Now the Indian Pacific hadn't long started, so I thought I'll book the cheapest fare across the Nullarbor. So the cheapest fare was Port Augusta to Coolgardie. And then I paid for it, and I remember it was $35, and that was in a sleeping bunk, had a sleeping bunk, and I think it included all meals on the train. Of course, that has changed today. That would probably be about 100 times more or 200 times more today. But anyway, when I got to Coolgardie, I started hitchhiking again. And I was picked up by a truck driver, and he took me into Perth. Now that trip, I think that trip took about 2 or 3 days to get there. Like the roads were just mostly dirt, and also the truck, it was a diesel truck, had a heavy load on it, and I think that the top speed we're doing was about somewhere between 50 to 60k. And to make it worse, the truck driver was a bit of a drinker, and we'd stop at all these towns. Stopped at a couple of nights. We stopped at these towns, and he'd go and get drunk at a pub and come out, and we'd just sleep beside the truck in our sleeping bags in the dirt. Can't believe how rough it was. But anyway, I finally got to Perth. Then from Perth I hitchhiked up to Port Hedland. And my destination was, I really wanted to go to Broome because I wanted to see the purling luggers working. But when I got to Broome, the rain had set in and the whole area between Broome and Darwin was completely flooded out. So I had to fly from Broome to Darwin. That was pretty unfortunate, but hey, that's travel, isn't it? And then from Darwin, I hitchhiked back to Sydney. It was a great trip, but rough. Makes travel today look like champagne travel. Here we are, the Museum of the Goldfields. Now here's a replica of the famous golden eagle, the biggest nugget ever found here in Kalgoorlie.
Oh, that's. But mind you, Mindy was telling me that the combination to the end of the ball, there's another combination to get.
So it was just all head frames down there, individual mines along the way. Now, I don't know if you know, some people ask, a head frame, an off at the side of the head frame. You're on level 5, you ring the bell 5 times, so you know you're on level 5. Then you'd have to ring it to let them know if you're on the whole. Well, from the super pit.
So you must come up here when you come to Kalgoorlie.
7 lodges here in Kalgoorlie.
The view is fantastic. Now the tall building down there is the old post office, and you can see the dome at the top, and that's all gold plated. Now what I'd really like to do is go over to the lookout, which is just over here, because you can see down into the pit. But unfortunately, there's no tours over there today.
I would do it.
We've only got one day in Kalgoorlie. Well, that was fantastic. That was a really good tour. And if you come to Kalgoorlie, come along, go on the tour and check out the mining magazine, the mining museum. And of course the people in there were really nice. In fact, most of the people who are working in there are from the UK. It's a mining memorial. And there's more around here dating right back to 1897. Thank you. Now I know a passion fruit slice doesn't sound very breakfasty, does it? But hey, what the heck? We're in Kalgoorlie, so let's live the life. That's beautiful. Now we're just in Woolies in Kalgoorlie here, just getting a few things to have lunch back at the hotel room. Well, I was just going to grab a beer from BWS. But you won't believe it. They're closed.
23. And up north it's clear until we get right to the north of the tropics. We're talking about
Okay.
It's goodbye Kalgoorlie. We've had a great couple of days here, and now it's time we're going to head back into Perth. They're doing some track work somewhere between Perth and Kalgoorlie, so they've put on buses, so we're going to go back by bus or coach. Well, it's not too bad because we come out one way. When you come by train and you come into a town, quite often you just look into people's backyards and you might see an interesting freight yard, but that's about it. But at least when you go by coach, you actually drive down the main street of the town, so you get a little bit more of an insight onto what the towns are like along the way. Trouble is, coaches aren't fantastic to ride on, but compared with a train, the fun of a train, but hey, that's life. Anyway, the coach should be leaving in a while, so we'll get aboard. Well, we've got our seats on bus 2, and it looks like we certainly are not the only people travelling to Perth today. Well, we've made ourselves comfortable on board and got seats as close to the front of the bus as possible. So it's pretty good. The only problem is that the seats are about half the size of the seats on the train. Oh well, that's life.
So they've used coaches. Right, so this is a TransWA service, but you'll notice it's not a TransWA coach, it's a Kari coach, but all the same rules do apply. So no smoking, no drinking, no drugs on board. Then into Merredin, Nullarbor, Tamman, then Midland, and then into East Perth. Normally when we do this service we end up getting into Perth at about 3:40, 3:45.
That's about an hour and 20 minutes more on the coach as to compared with the train. The train gets in at, I think it's about 2:20. We're now approaching Coolgardie. Aha, a 60k zone, and I saw a couple of billboards back there, so it looks like we're approaching civilization. Well, we're coming into Southern Cross. Fingers crossed that we stop here for a stretch and a cuppa.
I think so.
Well, that was Southern Cross. Looks like no stretch and no cuppa. seems to be we're heading to a place called Merredin Station. Well, no stretching our legs and cappuccino here. We just stopped to pick someone up. Oh, well, that's life in the Outback. I was just speaking to the people we picked up back there at Merredin Station, and they said that they've just come from their daughter's place, and she lives about 10k that way. Well, after that little stop, we're now back on the road again. Our next stop is Merredin, which is about 40k away. So, and when we get there, we're stopping at the BP service station. We're going to have 20 minutes break. So we might get that cup of coffee and stretch our legs. Good. Now, if I was on the train, I probably already would have had about 2 coffees and I'd be heading towards a beer. But this is the first coffee of the day. And also, the bacon and egg pie. Different. It's good. I think it's time we get out to the bus. We don't want to miss this one. Thanks. Well, we're on our way again. But it appears like the driver is going to be breathalyzed.
Thank you. Bye.
No worries. Thank you.
Now we've been sitting in some traffic here at Baker's Hill for about the last half hour. It hardly moved. But just on my right here is the Baker's Hill pie shop. And I've been told that the Baker's Hill pie shop has the best pies in Western Australia. There was a traffic hold up. I asked the bus driver, could we let me off and I could duck down and get a pie, eat it, and get back on the bus. No. Oh well, we've got the road now. Now I can see Perth in the distance. Now here we are at Midland train station. Now if you're sick of coaches, you can get off here and you can catch the train through to East Perth. But if you want to stay on the coach, just stay on and the coach will take you through to East Perth. Now, once you arrive East Perth or Midland or anywhere in the Perth area, you can use your TransWA ticket to travel anywhere in the Perth area using the trains and the buses. There's no charge, it's complimentary from TransWA. So it's not a bad deal. There's the new Midland railway station. And that certainly is a nice piece of architecture for a railway station. You don't see that much. We're at Guildford, which is a fair way inland, but here's the Swan River.
You're not doing that one too?
No, definitely not.
You'd be surprised how many people ask if us girls are.
I'm going home to bed.
Okay, here we are at East Perth Railway Station and TransWA bus terminal. And a big thank you to all TransWA staff, bus drivers who brought us here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. How do you use for this one? So
Sorry?
just like we talk.
Hey, Chris and I are going to spend a couple of days here in Perth, staying with some friends, and then we're going to head back to Sydney. And the way we're going to do is we're going to head down to Busselton, and from Busselton we're going to get one of those cheap $160 or something Jetstar flights from Busselton to Sydney. Anyway, that video will be out next week. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again next week. Bye now.